What areas can Texas Tech improve in the most? Which teams do we like in the MLB playoffs? And is Carmelo Anthony a difference maker for the Thunder? Find out next. MCTV Sports 101 starts now. Hey there, sports fans. Welcome to MCTV Sports 101. I'm Kyle Stafford.
And I'm Billy Ingle.
The Red Raiders dropped a tough one at home this past Saturday against the Oklahoma State Cowboys. They'll look to regroup this week in Lawrence against Kansas. Billy, what improvements would you like to see from Texas Tech?
Overall, I just want to say that I think it was a great game. I think we fought hard. We played well in a lot of different areas. But one thing that stuck out to me is, we got to start converting more third downs.
Yeah.
We're just leaving too many out there on the field. We only had 25 first downs compared to the 32 that OSU had. So, there's a little bit of discrepancy there. And, it just seems like we're able to get a drive started, but we're not finishing drives like we're used to seeing.
Well, and you looked at it last year, Patrick Mahomes was one of the best quarterbacks in the nation on third down efficiency. And you're not seeing that this year because Nick Shimonek is a great quarterback, but he doesn't have that playmaking ability once he gets out of the pocket like Pat did to extend some of those plays. And that's not all on Nick. I think I'd like to see more on offense. I just don't know what the offense is. There's just not enough there. I'm not sure. There is no running game. I think we both agree that going into the season we didn't think there was one, and there still isn't one. You've seen glimpses with Justin Stockton and Trey King, but they're not an every down back, and I'm not sure what there is to fix that.
Yeah, and I think I would really like to see Trey King get a little bit more touches than he is right now. Stockton is a great running back in his own rights, but he's more a shifty type of back. He doesn't go in between the tackles.
He's not an every down back.
And that's more of, I think, what Trey King can fill that role a little bit better than Stockton can. Stockton does have, the seniority. He's got a little bit more experience, having played with the team for so many years now. But at the same time, I think Trey King would bring more versatility to this offense.
And we've seen it in a couple games. The Houston game was a prime example. I mean, a lot of that came on one big run alone, but I felt there were some short yardage plays that he just fought for that extra yard. And I'd like to see more. I think the offensive line, they're still young, they're inexperienced, they need some more time to develop. I think it's a good team. I thought the defense played well. I know you gave up 600 yards of offense, but I really like what I see from the defense. Yeah, Oklahoma State scored or was in the red zone almost every drive, but you had a couple missed field goals. You held them to some field goals, which is what we didn't do last year.
Exactly.
You only made them punt once, but I mean, Oklahoma State's a good offense.
One thing that my high school football coach would always tell me and tell our defense is bend but don't break. And that's what this Texas Tech defense is doing. And that's kind of all that we were expecting of them to do so that, that offense can really step up into that scoring role that we just haven't seen as much as that we needed to. And you know what? Coming into this week against Kansas, I think that our offense is going to step it up.
Yeah.
Or at least I hope so.
I hope so, too.
The MLB playoffs are in full swing with the divisional series kicking off tonight. Kyle, which teams make it to the league championship series?
Well, I think in the National League, look, going into the season, I thought the Dodgers were going to get there in the World Series. Yeah, they're still the favorites, but I really like Arizona. I like what they've been doing.
Really?
I really like Zach Greinke and Robbie Reyes' 1-2 punch. I know Greinke got a little roughed up in the wild card game, but I really like that 1-2 punch. Then you got a guy like Archie Bradley out of the bullpen who's not only pitching well, he's hitting triples, the first pitcher ever to hit a triple in the postseason, first ever career extra base hit. And then you got a guy in Godley as well as the third guy in that rotation. So I really like Arizona in the National League to beat the Dodgers, and then I think the Cubs get it done.
Really? So, that's interesting that you say that because, you've got such, competitive stuff in the, with the Dodgers. And then, even the Indians, another good team that, you feel
I think the Indians get past. I think they're going to go past the Yankees. They'll get to the ALCS. I think the Astros beat the Red Sox. But from that point on, it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a toss-up because I actually have the Astros right now coming out of the AL. I think they've got a great punch in there with the, Verlander and Dallas Keuchel, who's been inconsistent, we've seen.
Yeah.
But I think he's able to step it up. And then on the other side, I just do think I like the Dodgers. That pickup of Darvish was huge for them as well already with Clayton Kershaw.
Can overcome his postseason troubles.
So we'll see what happens there. But I think no matter what, we're in for an exciting postseason.
Yeah. Carmelo Anthony made his preseason debut with the Thunder earlier this week. Billy, does the trade for Carmelo change Oklahoma City's standing in the West?
Standing overall, yes, I think it does. I think it makes them a better team. Now, does it ultimately the main question is, does it make them strong enough to take down the Warriors? I don't know about that. I think that's more of a Paul George kind of thing.
Do they jump to the second seed now, in your opinion, though?
I think the Spurs still fall. And, you know, I think the Spurs are going to fall down to, you know, possibly even a 5th or, you know, 4th, maybe even 6th seed. So I think that this is a chance for, you know, OKC to step up.
You think the Spurs will fall to the 4th or 6th seed?
I think they just might. I think they're
I
not getting any better. And
I agree with that, but I think
worse.
it's Greg Popovich and the Spurs. They're going to finish 2nd in the West. It's just, it's always going to happen. They're going to win 60-plus games a year.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with the Houston Rockets, with the addition of Chris Paul.
Does this trade make them that much better, though? Because I don't think it does. In fact, I said it before. I'm not sure this trade helps them in the sense that I think the Paul George trade made them better. I think this one kind of regressed it a little bit.
See, I don't know. I don't think
it adds another scoring punch.
I don't think so. Just because whenever you get a superstar, a proven superstar like Carmelo Anthony,
is he proven though?
He has been throughout his career. He has been
of late though.
He's been well. He's had some. You know, he's been in an organization where he's been nearly ran out of town. So you know, it's hard to put.
But he could have left that organization.
Well, it's hard to put in your heart and soul back into the game whenever you know you're playing somewhere where you're not wanted. So I think this move right here, getting with another competitor, is Russell Westbrook, who I don't think will let him just idly sit there by and play mediocre basketball. I think this lights a fire under him, and we might start seeing some Carmelo Anthony of old.
I think this is 3 ball stoppers on one team that I just don't see that work. You know, it works with the Golden State Warriors because you have
they're so
guys.
Selfless.
They're selfless, exactly. And then when you're on the Cavaliers, well, LeBron's a ball stopper, but he also knows how to get everybody else involved as well. These are 3 ball stoppers, and Russell Westbrook, Paul George, and Carmelo Anthony. In fact, you got probably the 2 worst ball stoppers in the league in Russell Westbrook. And I get Russell Westbrook had 10 assists per game last year, but to me, when you hold the ball about 90% of the time, you're going to get 10 assists.
Yeah, and you know, I think this is interesting to see, especially with Russell Westbrook, because he was starting to find that groove on playing with another superstar right as Kevin Durant left. So we'll see if he's able to.
Well, we saw how the relationship ended between them two, so we'll see what happens this time.
It hasn't gotten much better throughout that. So, but now it's time for Who You Got. Let's start off with Texas Tech versus Houston. Kyle, who you got?
Well, Texas Tech versus Kansas this week, but
Kansas,
that's all right. That's my bad. That's a typo there. I think Texas Tech will get the W. I hope so. They're 17-1 all time against Kansas, so I would hope Tech wins.
Yeah, Kansas is only 1-3 on the season. The only win coming from southeastern Missouri State. So one thing to look out for Kansas, though, they have put up at least 27 points in all their games, so that offense can score the ball. So, but I'll go with Texas Tech as well.
TCU hosts West Virginia. Billy, who you got?
I got TCU. The way that they took down Oklahoma State 2 weekends ago was just really remarkable for me. They kept the train rolling last week. That defense is good. Kenny Hill is showing to be even better, so I got TCU.
I got TCU as well. I think they're probably about the 3rd best team in the Big 12, maybe even 2nd after beating Oklahoma State. I'm not sure what to make of Oklahoma State the last couple of weeks, but I really like what TCU. They've proven on the road. They beat Arkansas on the road, and now Oklahoma State. I think they take care of West Virginia. Not good defense in Morgantown this year.
Yeah. Chiefs at Texans, Kyle. Who you got?
That's not even a pick. I mean, the Chiefs will blow them out.
Really? After that
close.
Big win that they had against Tennessee, you're going that far, Chiefs.
They're gonna get their hopes up, and Deshaun Watson will have a bad game. That Chiefs defense will turn them over a couple times, and Kareem Hunt will do Kareem Hunt things.
You know, I'm a little bit surprised to see how strongly you feel about this. I also have the Chiefs, but I'm predicting a much closer game.
Best team in football right now.
I can't disagree there. I think the only undefeated team left in the league. So. Definitely have earned the praise that you're giving them. But I see a much closer game, and with a chance that let me just say this: I put a lot more thought into my pick than it seems than you did. So
Packers at Cowboys. Billy, who you got?
I got to go Cowboys. I'm riding my Cowboys boat another week. I was a little bit disappointed with the way that we gave up that game last week against the LA Rams. But there's a revenge factor in it, and the last year in the playoffs. There's just a lot more hype going around this game. I think this team is still a young team, as we all know, and they're learning to develop, going through that tough losses. I think the biggest struggle that they're getting over this year is that, it's not going to be this easy week in and week out in the National Football League, and then you're going to have to put it in every single week 100%. So I think that they'll figure it out this week. I got Cowboys.
I got Aaron Rodgers. I trust Aaron Rodgers on the road. He's a great quarterback. The Packers, they might not have Ty Montgomery in this game. Devontae Adams is questionable, but again, it's Aaron Rodgers on the road. He knows how to win. They defeated the Cowboys last year in the postseason. We'll see if they do it again.
We'll see. Lions host the Panthers. Kyle, who you got?
We'll go with Matthew Stafford and the Lions. I think They're talented enough. It's at home. Yeah, Carolina looked good against New England last week, but I really think that at home Detroit wins the game.
Yeah, I've really been impressed with what Detroit's been doing this year. They've got a lot of impressive wins, but what Carolina did last week with New England, that was just remarkable. And
Cam Newton finally got back on track.
Exactly, and I think that's the key to that. They're finally starting to play like the team that we've seen them play like before. Whenever they made that Super Bowl run, and maybe this is just what they needed to really kickstart their year. So I'm going to go with the Panthers.
Well, that's going to do it for this week's edition of MCTV Sports 101. Join us next week for the latest big name stories in sports. I'm Kyle Stafford.
And I'm Billy Ingle. Until next time.